shows that across the country, out of 1,200 respondents, 64%, two-thirds of our people are now into online gambling. Therefore, this is an epidemic. And that is why we have to file this to arrest this epidemic.
We will. I will have to call the office and check.
Madam
They
Chair,
can send it right now.
I thought this is a budget hearing. And supposedly, how many people are there at the back of the good chairman? And yet they have to submit, and they have to call the office.
No, I just want, Madam Chair, Congressman Imano, all I'm saying is, because the policy is not actually a written policy.
See there, it's not a
like
written policy.
As I said, for the...
The next interpellator on the part of the majority, Vice Chair Rufus Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, our distinguished colleagues, and of course we thank Chairman Tenco and the PAGCOR officialdom for their presentation. I would like to disclose, Madam Chair, that this representation 3 weeks ago had a privileged speech calling for the total ban of online gambling. This was followed 2 weeks ago by the filing on August 8 of my House Bill 3169, which is entitled Banning All Forms of Online Gambling in the Philippines and Imposing Stiff Penalties for Violations thereof. The reason for this, Madam Chair, is because online gambling has become an epidemic in this country. So many surveys and research have shown that majority of our people in the Philippines are already into online gambling. But I will cite just one. This is quite recent. 2023, Capstone Intel, a research firm, Capstone Intel, reported that with the rise of technology and the internet, more people are turning to online betting. And the results of a survey they conducted in 2023 shows that across the country, out of 1,200 respondents, 64%, two-thirds of our people are now into online gambling. And what is worse, very, very with concern, it also showed that 66% of these 64% are at the ages of 18 to 40. So what happens to the 21 threshold of age? No, 18 years old to 20, 66%. Therefore, this is an epidemic. And that is why we have to file this to arrest this epidemic. So my first question to our dear chairman, Chairman Tenco, what do you say to the Department of Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa, who said that addiction to online gambling, as shown by 64% of the Filipino people, is a mental health issue, and that an adverse effect of gambling is habit forming? May we know the answer?
Madam Chair, may I answer Congressman Rodriguez?
Yes, please proceed, Chairman Tenco.
Congressman Rodriguez, definitely, first of all, in the study of Capstone, which I had also read, because as I was telling Congressman Valeriano earlier, so many studies now are going around regarding online gaming, primarily because online gambling, primarily because it is really all over the world. No, it is not only in the Philippines, and I think these studies will show that this online gambling craze has really been going around the world already. So yes, one, I would like to emphasize that in the report that you had mentioned, ages 18 to 40 are involved in online gaming. But I want to emphasize, Congressman Rodriguez, that those who are included in that report of ages 18 to 21 are not coming from the licensees of PAGCOR, because we are truly strict when it comes to the registration. And we make it a point as much as possible to register only those who are 21 years old and above. So portion of that, definitely, hindi na po namin aming jurisdiction. Pero totoo po yun. Alam niyo naman, in anything talaga, pag nasubukan mo at nagustuhan mo, nagkaroon ka ng pagkakataon na nanalo, nagkaroon ka ng pagkakataon, nakatikim ka na yung ganitong halagang itinaya mo ay tumama ng ganon, talagang there will be an addiction. Kaya po, kung meron pong ginagawa Congressman Rodriguez ang PAGCOR ngayon, ay yung higpitan ng mga regulasyon, bigyan ng pansin ang responsible gaming, sapagkat ang paniniwala po namin, pagpatuloy rin tayo nagpapaalala sa ating mga kababayan tungkol sa mga ills of gambling, then baka pag nasa sa tamang edad naman sila, they will realize that gambling can be addicting. In fact, Congressman Rodriguez, we have launched and changed the tagline of PAGCOR. Dati po, ang PAGCOR nakalagay game responsibly, keep it fun. Inalis na po namin yon. Ngayon, ang malaki na pong mga pinagkakalat namin sa mga posters, sa mga billboards, sa mga leaflets ay gambling can be addictive, know when to stop. So it is a strong message reminding the Filipino people na ang gambling ay pagka hindi mo na control yan ay tunay na nakaloloko. Kaya ako po sa PAGCOR sa pangkasalukuyan, ang posisyon namin ay stricter regulation ang paniwala namin sapagkat sa akin pong paniwala at sa paniwala po ng pamunuan ng PAGCOR sa pangkasalukuyan, maski po sa pagkaroon ng total ban, tuloy din po ang illegal gambling at ang masakit po ron ay lalong malululo ng Pilipino dahil walang proteksyon ang mga manunugal kung sakaling total ban na po yan at higit pa ron ay wala pong papasok na revenue talaga sa ating pamahalaan. Yun lang po ang posisyon namin. Yung pong posisyon ng ilan sa inyo na gusto'y total or minumungkahi ang total ban on online gaming, ginagalang ko po yun. Pero sa side po ng PAGCOR, na isa sa pangunahing dahilan kung bakit nandito ay to raise revenue, ang amin po'y dapat na lang siguro ay higpitan pa natin ang regulasyon nang sa ganon ay mabalansin natin ang pagpasok ng pera sa gobyerno at mabigyan ng pansin ang mga sinasabing nagkakaproblema sa addiction sa gambling. Yun lang po, Congressman.
Thank you, Chair Tenko. Madam Chair, may I proceed? You stated that it's worldwide, but you see, we are concerned not of the world, but we are concerned of the Filipino families and our own Filipinos in our country. That's why we believe that it's about time already to stop the online gambling. My second question, Madam Chair, is the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines has sounded the alarm, calling it a moral and social emergency and calling it an epidemic. The church, the religious, is calling it a moral and social emergency. What does the secretary, what does the chairman say about this statement?
I had corresponded with the CBCP and I do accept and respect their position on the matter, just like, as I mentioned, all the congressmen or lawmakers who have the same position, we accept it, but I am still of the belief that by enforcing stricter regulations, by controlling so many of these other things that are related to online gaming, we will be able to control such.
Thank you, Chairman Tenko. What can you say to the parents of two young individuals in Misamis Oriental and Cagayan de Oro that has committed suicide because they were already very much indebted and they already addicted? What do you say to them? The families have lost their loved ones.
Well, I can only ask for, I can only say that I am very concerned. Yes, that is part of it. There are cases. In fact, one was brought up to me personally by Senator Subiri last week. And I spoke to the mother of the victim and so with the members of his family. And I had honestly apologized for what had happened. And I tried to see how PAGCOR could be of help. And we were able to come across. And I did give some support to them, not only the monetary support, but even support for the possibility of other members of their family being referred to rehabilitation centers, because they were saying na may iba na rin daw barkada at kamag-anak yung kanilang anak. And ang masasabi ko lang po ay talagang in any form of addiction, in any form of mayroon po talagang nangyayaring ganun. Kung talaga lang kaya kong maabot ang lahat ng mga biktimang ganyan, aabutin po ito ng PAGCOR at unay hihingi ng pagpapatawad sa pagkukulang namin at magkakaloob ng anumang uri ng suportang maipagkakaloob namin sa mga nasabing biktima.
Thank you, Chairman Tenko. The pervasive statement of the chair is that there's a big problem because of illegal online gambling. But, Madam Chair, more so that we have legalized online gambling. And that's the reason why there is an epidemic. We are saying that, yes, illegal online gambling has caused this epidemic, but more so because we have legalized. And that is why the earlier we stop the legalized gambling, the more we are able to control and stop this. And I remember, Chairman Tenko, you were here in a hearing and regarding POGO. You were insisting that once the POGOs that are registered are okay, and they should continue. Fortunately, the President did not follow your advice. The President, as parents, patri of our nation, the father of the Filipino nation, the father of the families, declared the really illegal, the POGO, and banned the POGO. Now you're saying that we have to just regulate it. Madam Chair, I hope the President would listen to the cries of the families all over the Philippines. Broken families, husbands not anymore working, depending on their gambling bets. We see here that we hope the President, as I end my intervention, I hope that the President will soon announce, in the interest of parents, patri, to be able to get away from and solve this epidemic, to cut also the legal gambling and fight it out with the illegal gambling. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the time. I end because the second bell has rung. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Rufus Rodriguez. We'll move to the next interpellator from the minority, Representative Audrey Zubiri.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Congresswoman Micaela Swansing, and good morning to the officers of PAGCOR, headed by no less than Chairman Alejandro Tenco. First of all, I would like to commend PAGCOR for your 23 billion peso remittance to the Bureau of Treasury for our universal health care. However, Madam Chair, I am concerned about the statements recently made by Senator Pia Cayetano, wherein she mentioned that PhilHealth still has not received the funds for their universal health care program. And so I would like to ask, now that PAGCOR is aware of this, what is the status of those remittances, please, Chairman?
Chairperson Sonsing,
Yes, Chairman Tenco, please proceed.
Congresswoman Subiri, I would like to state on record that PAGCOR has religiously remitted the share of the Universal Health Care Fund under the Universal Health Care Act, Universal Health Care Law Act or law. PAGCOR remits this amount due to the Universal Health Care or PhilHealth to the Bureau of Treasury. And the Bureau of Treasury is mandated to remit the said amount to PhilHealth. So on record, and I had stated this in the Senate hearing last week, Congresswoman Subiri, that we have religiously, since the Universal Health Care sponsored by Senator J.V. Ejercito was passed, PAGCOR has religiously remitted to the National Treasury the share that is due PhilHealth. So wala po kaming pagkukulang doon. Ang inutos po ng batas sa PAGCOR ay amin pong i-remit ito hindi po sa PhilHealth, kung hindi po sa National Treasury po. Kaya pwede po ring i-furnish natin, Madam Chairperson Swansing, ang committee ninyo ng aming mga dokumento na magpapatunay na wala po kaming pagkukulang. kami po ay direktang nagre-remit sa Bureau of Treasury nung portion po na dapat naman ay pinagkakaloob nila sa PhilHealth. Malaking halaga po ito. Sa taong pong 2024 ay 23 billion pesos po ang nai-remit namin para po doon sa Universal Healthcare Act na yun. Ngayon, kakaiba po ito doon naman sa isang batas doon sa Philippine Sports Commission kung saan ang nakasaad po sa batas, yung Philippine Sports Commission po, PAGCOR should directly remit to the Philippine Sports Commission. So buwan na naman po, sinaset ko lang Congresswoman Subiri as an example, every month we remit directly naman to the Philippine Sports Commission sapagkat yun po ang nakasaad sa batas. Para po, ulitin ko lang, doon po sa katanungan ninyo, sa Universal Healthcare Law po, ang nakalagay po doon, PAGCOR should remit the portion for the Universal Healthcare Fund to the Bureau of Treasury.
Thank you very much for the clarification, Chairman. And actually, natutuwa po ako dahil minention nyo nga na ang nangyari ay nasa Bureau of Treasury. And thank you very much for remitting every month. And it gives me the idea na baka dapat we should not stop at just simply fulfilling our responsibility to bring it to the Bureau of Treasury. Just as you have been able to remit directly to the PSC, no, for the, baka now it's time to revisit that law. And maybe we should now remit directly to PhilHealth because I am sure napakaraming taong nangangailangan sa mga pondo na yan. And this will definitely be in line with our President's goal of providing the no balance billing. So talagang malaking tulong po yan. So siguro oras na nating i-revisit ang ating RA 11 Universal Healthcare. Now, with regards to, you mentioned earlier, we also have our safeguards. Now, I'd like to move on to our legal, regulated online gambling platforms. So, na-mention nyo po na meron naman po tayong mga safeguards such as the Know Your Customer and the Valid ID requirement. So, can we confirm that all the licensed platforms are compliant with these requirements?
Well, as Madam Chair, can I answer, Congresswoman? Congresswoman Subiri, as far as we are concerned, yes, they are fully compliant. We have a group, as mentioned by Congressman Poe earlier, called CMED, that monitors yung registration po. At so far, as of last week, well, they do it regularly. Nakikita naman po namin na they try their best na kapag-register ang lahat ng ano. Ang problema lang po talaga, Congresswoman, kuminsan sisingitan ng fake na ID, nakakalusot po yung ilang kabataan. But I believe hindi po malaking porsyento ito. Pero nahuhuli din po sapagkat may secondary layer po kami. At ito'y gusto kong ipaabot sa lahat. Hindi po namin binabayaran ang makikita at mahuhuli naming underage, prohibited person, government employee. Hindi po namin binabayaran yung kanilang winnings kung nakita po namin hindi po sila sumunod sa proseso. At just for the information of everyone, this year alone, from January to June of 2025, we had voided 180 million pesos of winnings that we did not give to those that did not follow the process of registration.
That's good, Chairman. I'm very happy to hear that. I would also like to follow up my question. No? Are you familiar with the games Arena Plus and Playtime?
Arena Plus is a licensee and they are part of the DG Plus group.
Okay.
Playtime is a legal, both of them are legal. Playtime is also a licensee po ng PAGCOR.
Okay. Kasi Chairman, and of course this is not to disparage the hard work of the CMED group, no, which I'm very grateful for, especially as you mentioned, more than 180 million na ang na-forfeit na winnings. Pero just this morning, no, I would like to bring it to your attention that our office tried these two apps, Arena Plus and Playtime, and the only thing that was required of us was to give a phone number and to enter a verification code. After that, nakapasok na po at ready na maglaro. Nakalagay na doon na pwedeng kailangan mag-press ng link and it went to a baccarat or something like that. Another one went to a slot machine. And so, it bothers me because I was under the impression that PAGCOR is fully monitoring our legal online platform games. But now it appears that even the legal are not fully monitored. And so we have been discussing all morning, no, banning versus regulating. But as is, I feel that we can see now that there is a problem with banning because honestly, personally, no, I do not know how we can regulate. I mean, there's a problem with regulating because I don't personally know how we can regulate an industry whose key business model is to create addiction, to profit from loss and exploit vulnerability. I don't see how any amount of regulation is going to change that core business model. And now we can see that no matter how hard we try to regulate them, even these supposedly legal applications are not fully compliant. So what makes us sure that regulating these bans, these online games will lead to a better status for our country?
Okay. So, with regard to your observation, especially the ones made by your staff, I will immediately look into the matter and see if they have violated our rules and regulations. And Congressman Subiri, if they did violate, then they will be sanctioned because we have penalties for this. So I will look into that. Again, I cannot answer you in the affirmative because I didn't have that same experience when I tried, and we will look into it. Now, with regard to your concern, yes, I do believe that it will be a difficult and challenging task, but I just want to assure you, Congresswoman Subiri, that we will try our best to be able to, if a decision is reached that there will be stronger regulations, then I will commit to all that we will try our best to be able to restrict and follow all the set of rules and regulations.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairwoman, I would like to ask another question, please. With regards to the, so I'm very glad to hear that there are no more new licenses being issued by PAGCOR. But are we aware that there are actually gaming licenses being sold currently? The ones who have already received their gaming licenses, some of them are supposedly selling, that's how reached our office, no? And the prices for these licenses do not go for anything less than ₱500 million. So what I would like to know is, are we monitoring these supposed, parang kumbaga, pinaflip nila yung kanilang license? Are we monitoring this? Is there a way to audit this?
Chairperson, Congresswoman Subiri, I am aware that there are attempts because obviously the reason behind this is we have a moratorium. Hindi makapasok na, hindi na makakuha ng lisensya yung gustong makalisensya. Ngayon, meron pong mga balita na may mga nagbebenta but not as much as you had mentioned na 500 million. Dahil Congressman Subiri, I think 500 million is too steep for them to pay. But I have heard that there are offers being made for existing licensees in the amounts of about 50 to 100 million pesos. Now, whether we allow it or not, I would like to state categorically, we do not. In fact, a few months ago, Congresswoman Subiri, the PAGCOR board passed a board resolution not allowing any transfer or sale of licenses because even if they conclude between parties na ibenta po nung ano, they will need the concurrence of the PAGCOR board. At diyan po, gusto kong ipaabot sa inyo, hindi kailanman papayagan ng current PAGCOR board na magkaroon ng bentahan ng mga lisensya sapagkat meron na pong isang board-approved resolution na pinagbabawal po yan. At ito po ay ipinasa ng current PAGCOR board a few months ago. Kaya umasa po kayo, sabi ko nga parang bentahan po ng kotse yan eh. Pagka binenta mo, magpapalit ka ng titulo, kailangan mo ng approval ng LTO. Ngayon po, pag nagbentahan ng lisensya, kailangan po may approval ng PAGCOR board. Hindi kailanman makalulusot yung ganyang uri ng transaksyon sapagkat meron na po tayong pinapasa na isang board resolution na ipinagbabawal yung nasabing bentahan na yan.
I'm glad to hear that, Chairman Tenko. Now, with regards naman sa ating mga illegal, no? Okay, medyo nasasabihan na ata ako. But yung ating mga illegal, I just want to ask, can we not coordinate with the app stores like Google Play, Apple Play na tanggalin nila ito sa kanilang mga apps para hindi sila ma-download sa ating region, sa ating bansa?
Madam Chair, I'd like to answer Congresswoman Zubiri.
Yes, please go ahead.
Congresswoman Zubiri, sa pagkakaalam ko po, tulad ng binanggit ko muna kanina, hindi po kasi nasasakop sa akin yung pagsulat sa app stores. Pero gusto ko pong ibalita sa inyo, ang DICT po sa pangunguna ni Secretary Henry Aguda at ang CICC sa pangunguna ni Yusek Aboy Paraiso ay sumulat na sa mga app stores na inyong tinutukoy, gayon din po sa mga social media apps at hiniling na rin na wag na nilang payagan ang mga nasabing mga illegal gaming sites na ito. So, sila po ay madalas po kami nakikipag-ugnayan, PAGCOR, DICT, tsaka CICC, yung pong Cybercrime Commission. At ang ulat po nila doon sa aming mga pulong, nakasulat na po sila sa lahat ng mga app stores at gayon din naman po sa mga social media outlets. Hopefully, maging positive po yung response sa kanilang sulat at natitiyak ko po sa inyo kung mangyayari yon ay makokontrol na po yung mga illegal websites na inyong binabanggit.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I would like to signify my intent, Chairwoman, to join the second round of interpellation. And before I end, I would also like to congratulate PAGCOR for your record-breaking revenues over the last 3 years. However, I would like to say that I hope we are not seeing a reversal of roles, no? Because of course, as we all know, PAGCOR is supposed to be used to raise revenue for the benefit of the Filipino people, not the other way around. And I would hate to see us be in a position wherein it is the Filipino people who are now being used to generate revenue instead of the other way around for the country. So, and at a disadvantage for the people. So I hope we can all watch out for that and make sure that we all do our job as it was intended to be. Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you, Chairman Tenko.
That is noted, Congresswoman Zubiri.
Thank you very much, Representative Zubiri. We'll move to our next interpellator from the majority, Deputy Speaker Bambi Emano.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and maayong buntag sa pamilya sa PAGCOR. Madam Chair, first I would, before the policy questions, would like to go to the briefer that PAGCOR had presented earlier, especially those on accomplishments of e-learning. That's why I asked the gentleman earlier if he could speak louder because I was not able to hear. If they have I will be asking data later, Madam Chair. I will go back to him. And of course, again, going back, PAGCOR flagship project, mentioned earlier, if they have guidelines already, criteria for choosing beneficiaries. And I also saw and read their relief operations for calamities, their guidelines and process. And the patient transport vehicle, their criteria and guidelines and how was it distributed, because I saw already in the social media that they started distributing already. And may I know if it was allocated to Luzon, Visayas, in the Mindanao equally, depending on their guidelines, Madam Chair. Can I get the assurance and the data from PAGCOR, Madam Chair?
Madam Chair, can I answer?
Yes, go ahead, Chairman Tenko.
Congressman Emano.
Emano.
First, with regard to the infrastructure projects that you have mentioned, PAGCOR does not have an engineering group. That is why we had signed a memorandum of agreement.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I was not asking for engineering groups on how they implement projects. If they have the criteria of who to give these projects to, Madam Chair, so other members will be able to apply, local governments will be able to apply for the education of everybody present, Madam Chair.
Yes, ang sinasabi ko po, kami po ay nakipag-ugnayan for the classrooms, Congressman Emano. We have coordinated and signed with the Department of Education. Senator Sani Angara is one of the signatories together. Ang mag-implement po kasi, Congressman Emano, ay DPWH. So, ang input po nung sa school buildings, kinukuha po namin sa DepEd para malaman namin kung talagang in dire need po. Kasi po, for budget for 2025, 125 school buildings lang po ang kayang ma-fund ng PAGCOR. So we are getting such from the Department of Education, and at the same time, we are getting letter requests. And amin pong pinapacheck sa aming department, yung aming social responsibility group, kung talagang nararapat at nangangailangan talaga ng mga eskwelahan, e-learning centers, wellness centers, and socio-civic centers po. So, yun
Yeah,
po ang
Madam
process.
Chair, I'll go back to that question later. I thank the good chairman. But actually, until now, it's not clear if they have a policy, if they have a guideline. What he answered was he signed a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Education. I'll get back to that later, Madam Chair, after the policy questions, just hoping that I will be given a copy if they have a policy guideline, Madam Chair.
Yeah, we will give you a, can I answer?
Yeah,
We
go
will
ahead.
give you po yung policy guideline natin. But sa school buildings po, umaasa po kami sa tulong ng Department of Education talaga. Sila po, dun sa Memorandum of Understanding po namin, specific po yon na sila ang katulong namin sa pag-identify. Ang amin lang po kasi, Congressman Imano, is kami ang magpopondo.
I understand, Madam Chair. That's why I'm asking because, example, on that memorandum of agreement, is it based on the Department of Education's red list? They have this different kinds of color according to priorities. Are these areas supposed to, are the classrooms supposedly be given? Is it under the policy that it will be given to GIDA areas? So that's what I'm asking, which I hope will be answered later, Madam Chair. I'll just have two policy questions, then hopefully I can go back to the documents that I'm asking, Madam Chair. If that would be okay to the good chairman also, Madam Chair.
Actually, with your nudge, I'm ready to answer. Meron pong short list on DepEd na hinanda po sa amin. Yung po daw yung talagang kailangan ng classrooms around the Philippines. And if you were asking earlier, saan ba dinadala yan? Sa Luzon lang ba yan? Hindi po. We are trying to make sure na all the regions, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, ay mapagkalooban po ng mga project na yun.
Okay, like if he's already, Madam Chair, the good chairman is already, may know how many percentage were given to Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao?
Sa ngayon po, wala pa pong naibibigay. Nasa DPWH na po, we have a list, I think, of the first 15, if I'm not mistaken. And DPWH po, I'm sorry, I just answered the question. 15 po, at nandun na po for evaluation na rin yung mga sites ng DPWH. So, to answer Congressman Imano, wala pa pong tinatayo. Nasa evaluation po ng DPWH ngayon yung mga sites na in-endorse na sa amin at sila po ang nag-aaral kung tama nga po at magkakasya po ba yung eskwelahan na yun doon naman sa mga sites na ibinigay ng DepEd sa amin.
Yeah, I think what the good chairman is saying, Madam Chair, is that will be for the 2025 or 2026.
2025 po,
Yeah,
Congressman
for
Imano.
2024, Madam Chair, then possibly they would have that this already, has been implemented already. The year has passed.
We, Madam Chair, can I answer? Congressman Imano, this is the first year that we will be implementing these infrastructure projects, primarily because upon advice of the Commission of Audit, tinapos po muna yung majority of the projects that were left behind na hindi natapos nung nakarang administrasyon. So, nung napas na po namin yung hinihiling sa amin ng COA na 70% ay matapos na namin, kaya doon na po kami nag-umpisang makipag-ugnayan sa Department of Education, gayon din po sa DPWH. So, for your information, Congressman Imano, wala pong naging infrastructure projects ang PAGCOR noong 2024, and it is only in 2025 that we will be implementing the construction of our infrastructure projects.
So meaning, Madam Chair, they have not yet started for 2025, or they have implemented already and they have that 15 for additional for implementation po?
Madam Chair, if I may answer. We have not started, Congressman Imano. As I had mentioned, DPWH now is studying and finalizing the locations. They have already called the attention of the different regions and districts. And now I was told the other day that they are already going to start the soil testing na po nung mga sites na napili po. If I'm not mistaken, 15 po yung first batch na mauuna po.
Yeah,
At
may we know the first 15,
I'm
Madam
sorry,
Chair?
13 po.
13?
13 pala. Nakakalat po ito sa NCR, Region 3, Region 4, Region 8, at Region 11. Yung 12 po.
Can we identify those areas, Madam Chair?
Late.
Because when we go to budget hearing, Madam Chair, every representative is representing a province. So it must be specific, not by region, Madam Chair. Like Region 10, where I am from. Is it from Lanao, Camiguin, Bukidnon, Lanao del Sur, Lanao del Norte, Misamis Occidental?
Sa Region 11 po, Davao del Sur, Digos. Sa Region 8 po, sa Leyte, Ormoc. Sa Region 4, sa Province of Quezon. Sa Region 3 po, probinsya ng Tarlac, probinsya po ng Pampanga. Sa NCR po, sa Caloocan City, sapagkat ito po ay priority project na ni-name. And then, meron din po sa Palawan, meron po sa Nueva Ecija, at meron po sa Cagayan de Oro.
And may we know how many are given to the islands of Mindanao, vis-a-vis Visayas and Luzon, Madam Chair?
I will have to tabulate.
That's what I'm asking, Madam Chair, because last year I asked the same question. Every time I'm given opportunity to join committee hearings, especially budget hearings, I asked the secretaries, the chairman, to have it divided already per island province, and hopefully we'll be able to identify and know. Same question, Madam Chair, for the patient transport vehicle. They had been distributing already. I saw also on the social media. May we know if they have already the...
We have released 42, if I believe I am right. Actually, the... Oh, sorry, Madam Chair.
yes,
I'd like to
DS.
answer Congressman Emano.
Opo.
Opo. 42 na po yung nadi-distribute. 44, sorry. And we continue to distribute based on coordination with PCSO because the mandate of the President is bawat munisipyo po at bawat syudad at bawat probinsya ay magkaroon ng patient transport vehicle. So ang inuuna po ng PAGCOR in support and in coordination with PCSO ay yung pong wala pang natatanggap sa pangkasalukuyan na nagmumula sa PCSO. Yung amin po, Congressman Emano, ay to augment yung sa PCSO dahil madami po ang request doon. Ang totoo po we are donating to them close to 75 units. Sila na po ang magpapamigay. So following the mandate of the President, ang pinauuna lang pong mabigyan ay yung mga wala pang natanggap kahit isang unit pa lamang na patient transport vehicle. And then,
Madam Chair, is that the policy?
Well, that is...
Yung hindi pa nakakatanggap? Because I beg to disagree, Madam Chair, because in the province of Misamis Oriental, I saw that they had given a municipality, a city, which already was able to receive from PCSO. So, nadoble na yun. Kaya hindi yung policy What I'm asking our policy, written policy, Madam Chair.
I will have... sorry, Madam Chair. We will have to check the information you're saying, but as far as I know, that is the policy that we are, internal policy.
Is that a written policy,
coordination.
Madam Chair? I want a written policy,
Well,
not verbal, Madam Chair. That's what I was hoping, that it will be submitted, the written policy, if there are guidelines, Madam Chair, so that we will be able to understand on how they identify the beneficiaries of the resources and the equipments that PAGCOR are in possession, Madam Chair.
DS, if I may summarize the requests for both the classroom build-out and the the patient transport vehicles, pwede po ba kaming makahingi sa PAGCOR kung meron pong written guidelines as to how requests will be handled, as well as in terms of identification of the beneficiaries, and kung meron din po tayong accomplishment report share na pwede po nating ma-furnish sa mga miyembro ng komite patungkol po dun sa mga nabigyan ng classrooms, nabigyan ng patient transport vehicles, nito po mga nakaraang taon hanggang 2025.
Opo, doon po sa patient transport vehicle, ngayon lang din po nagbibigay ang PAGCOR. So, in the past, 22, 23, 24, wala
Madam
po.
Chair,
so I'm sorry.
Well, I really understand that some of the programs are implemented for 2025 only. What we're asking is a written policy guideline.
Madam Chair,
And hopefully submitted, Madam Chair. In my watch, it's 12:15. Hopefully by 3 o'clock, Madam Chair, before they leave, so I can actually register for the second round and ask regarding the policy and guidelines, Madam Chair.
I will have to call the office and check.
Madam
They
Chair,
can send it right now.
I thought this is a budget hearing. And supposedly, how many people are there at the back of the good chairman? And yet they have to submit and they have to call the office.
No, I just want, Madam Chair, Congressman Imano, all I'm saying is, because the policy is not actually a written policy.
See there, it's not a
like
written policy.
As I said, for the Department of Education, we are getting the information from them. So, kami po ay funder lamang. Sila po kasi ang may expertise as to where those classrooms should be constructed.
So just to understand po, Chair Tenko, so ibig sabihin po, pag may request na nag-emanate from LGUs or from different sources, hindi po tumatanggap yung PAGCOR diretso na request?
Tinatanggap po namin, but we refer it to the Department of Education. Kaya po meron silang binibigay sa amin na tinatawag na shortlist.
So lahat po ng request na dumadating sa inyo?
Ang gusto po namin talaga, at ito po naman yung naging request din dito ng mga congressman dati, makarating po ito maski sa malalayong mga lugar. Kaya wala naman po kaming kakayahan at hindi namin alam kung sino yung ilan yung pagkukulang ng mga classroom. So, we are dependent on the Department of Education regarding this matter.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
The answer is actually not acceptable. Because if there is no policy, so ang ibig sabihin, halimbawa ito yung sa department, I'll be asking this during the Department of Education sa budget hearing. And so sa transport vehicle, sabi niya sa PCSO lang. And ang katunayan pala, wala silang policy. So ang tanong kung sinong pipili. So he's saying that he's augmenting to PCSO. Is he saying that PCSO decides who will be given? Then they just supply those patient transport vehicle, Madam Chair. Yun lang Madam Chair, I'm asking for policy. And ngayon, malinaw, wala pa na silang policy. I don't know which is which already, Madam Chair.
So, as I mentioned, we are dependent for classrooms on Department of Education. For others, they have for the wellness center or socio-civic. Kasi limited po rin yung budget namin for these infrastructure projects. So, hindi kamukha sa classrooms. We can, school buildings, ang budget po namin is only 100 for 125 school buildings. Yung hanggang doon lang po ang kaya namin ibigay. Sa transport vehicles po, ang kaya lang po namin ipagkaloob, 200 lang po. So, we are really coordinating with PCSO regarding the PTVs. Tapos, tama po kayo, may mga sumusulat din sa amin na pag in-assess naman namin at malalayong lugar at kailangan, pinagkakalooban po namin. Pero as to whether we have a specific guideline, I'll be very honest, wala po kaming specific guideline. We are dependent on the other. Parang kami po kasi augmentation lamang. So, Department of Education, padadalang kami nung tinatawag nila as ABP Balcos just said, a short list because sila po ang ka-coordinate namin. So, doon kami nagbabase po. At sa PTV naman, ang PCSO po, meron din kaming pakikipag-unayan. So, yung amin po kasi really hindi po massive. Very limited din yung amin pwedeng maitulong with regard to this. So, anyway, we will be coordinating with you, Congressman Emano, lalo lang doon sa sinabi niyong meron na palang natanggap daw na dalawa na o pangatlo na, we will be coordinating with your office po to clarify this matter.
Yeah. Madam Chair, the reason that I was asking for policy, inuulit po ng chairman natin that they are very limited, augmentation lang. the more that we should have a policy para malinaw kung sino talaga yung priority. That was the question na Madam Chair. Para malinaw kung ito lahat, kung may policy. Kasi, halimbawa, okay, we give it to DepEd, then DepEd decides who will be given these classrooms. So if the DepEd says, okay, we'll give barangay or municipality or province A this classroom, so yun na yun. Pag sinabi ng DepEd, yun na ba yun? Or that has to go to a deliberation process? Or is there a way where they'll be able to hopefully make it clear and transparent? I thank actually the chairman for his honesty. Clear and transparent way of deciding which and who will be given.
Madam Chair, yes, kung ano po yung binigay ng DepEd sa amin, especially yung tinatawag na shortlist, we immediately, as identified, let DPWH know na doon pupunta yun. That is my honest answer to Congressman Eman.
You know, earlier, Madam Chair, this is conflicting, Madam Chair. Earlier, the statement was, he gives those projects or funds or number of classrooms to the department and decides. And now he's saying, he give it to them, but they identify. I actually...
Liliwana, if you do not mind, Congressman Eman, I'll just clarify.
Yes, Madam Chair, would be very happy to understand what he's saying.
Ganito po, we have been working with DepEd for the last few months. I think it would be better if AVP Balcos will answer. But sa amin pong pakikipag-usap sa kanila, Congressman Emano, ang priority po talaga ng DepEd, mabigyan ng eskwelahan yung tulay na nangangailangan. Hindi na po namin sinasala yun, hindi na po namin tinitingnan yun. We are highly dependent on the Department of Education. Kaya ito pong unang listahan ay nagmula po sa shortlist nila. Ang tawag po nila ay shortlist. Kumbaga, yun po yung nangangailangan kagad. Doon po sa katanungan yung meron bang deliberasyon pa yan? Wala na pong deliberasyon because the idea is really to expedite the construction. Kaya po, tinutulak din namin ng Department of Public Works and Highways dahil sila rin po ang mag-i-implement ng construction site. So, wala pong deliberation na nagaganap, Congressman Emano. Automatic po, pag nanggaling na po sa DepEd shortlist, kagad pong pino-forward na namin yan doon sa DPWH. Yun po ang sitwasyon.
Yeah, actually, Madam Chair, the longer that we ask questions, mas lalo kong nalilito, Madam Chair. Honestly, I do not see a transparent, clear guideline on how we implement these projects, Madam Chair. Yun lang would like to register, Madam Chair, for the policy questions during the second round. But as of now, I'm hoping that by 3 p.m., there will be a guideline or a semblance of a guideline or kahit na lang, parang direction chart na lang. From here, pupunta rito, tapos dito, then ito approve na. Kahit ganun kasimple na lang, kung walang guidelines. Kasi, sa konting, last na lang talaga, Madam Chair, sa konting at saka limited numbers, limited slots, lalong magkakagulo to, Madam Chair, kung walang clear na direction guidelines. Parang, the way I look at it and the way I understood is, parang, kung gusto namin, kung malakas ka, okay. Parang ganun eh. So it's not fair. So what I'm hoping for is by 3 p.m., before we adjourn or even approve their budget, Madam Chair, that it will be submitted and hopefully will be asked during the second round of this representation, Madam Chair. Would that be possible, Madam Chair?
Okay. Siguro po, Chair Tenco, before I
Chairperson
interject.
Swansing, as I had mentioned earlier, and it was acknowledged by the Congressman, we do not have a formal guideline. We are banking on, let's talk of school buildings, we are banking on the Department of Education to let us know where it is needed, and then we just fund it. We just refer the matter to DPWH. That is how informal it is, Congressman Emano. It really starts from...
Madam Chair, it cannot be informal when you're talking of funds of the Republic of the Philippines, Madam Chair. It has to be formal. It has to be written. Kahit nga, di ba, local government. When I was mayor, when I was governor, kahit bibili kayo sa simento, dapat may resibo yan eh. And it cannot be informal. It has to be very clear policy, Madam Chair.
I think the person in charge is here now, and he can now brief us on how it starts and where it goes.
That would be very much appreciated, AVP Balcos. If you may please enlighten the body as to the guidelines, the selection criteria, I guess the split in terms of responsibility. Kasi siguro po, medyo dun po siguro lumalabo na at the start of the year, halimbawa po, if PAGCOR determines that you can provide 125 classrooms, do you provide that number to DepEd? So sasabihin niyo po ba sa DepEd, meron kaming maibibigay na 125 classrooms ngayong taon. Pwede ba kayo magbigay ng shortlist na naglalaman ng 125 na classrooms na pinaka-nangangailangan? Similarly, for patient transport vehicles, ganun din po ba sa simula ng taon, sasabihin po ng PAGCOR, kaya po namin magbigay ng 200 na mga PTVs ngayong taon. Kakausapin niyo po ba yung PCSO na pwede niyo po bang ibigay yung listahan ng 200 na mga lugar na pwede nating bigyan ng PTV? Siguro yun po yung main point of clarification ni Kong Emano, ni DS Emano, na kanino nang gagaling yung numero na 125 at 200? Kayo ba yung nagsasabi na hanggang dito lang kami, bigyan nyo kami ng listahan DepEd, bigyan nyo kami ng listahan PCSO, or magbibigay ba si PCSO at DepEd ng shortlist at kayo magsasabi, okay, out of the 500 na ninominate nyo, 125 lang yung kaya namin bigyan ng classrooms, or out of the 500 na ninominate nyo para sa PTVs, 200 lang din yung mabibigyan ng classrooms. Siguro po, yun ang gusto naming malaman. Kasi po, mahalaga kasi na, as DS Emano said, we're able to allocate resources to where they're most needed. So yun po siguro, sana GIDA o last mile areas, yung mabibigyan ng classrooms, or yung PTVs, yung mga munisipyo pa po na wala pang mga PTV o mga ambulansya. So yun po siguro, if you may please enlighten the body as to the guidelines.
Yeah, and if I may add, Madam Chair, very short na lang, that earlier it was also mentioned that they have a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Education already. Can we be given a copy of the memorandum of agreement? If they have a memorandum of agreement with the DPWH already, can we be furnished a copy of the memorandum of agreement? If they have a memorandum of agreement of DOH, PCSO, can this committee be furnished, Madam Chair? It would be very easy. If they have, they can only download, Madam Chair. If not, they can have their office send it here, Madam Chair, and have it printed. Would that be possible, Madam Chair?
Chair Tenko, AVP Balcos.
Madam Chair, Congressman Emano, yung sa ano po, yung sa Joint Memorandum Circular, it was a GMC po that was signed between PAGCOR, DepEd, and DPWH, infrastructure projects. Meron po, siguro po, up to this afternoon, we can send a copy of the JMC. Yun po yung sinign. When it comes to the infra projects, in addition to what the chairman said po, wala pa nga po tayong nasisimulan for this year. For the, we call that the flagship projects of PAGCOR. It all starts with a request naman po.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I very well understand that they're trying to explain, and the more they explain it, Madam Chair, it's getting more difficult to understand. Can they submit it by 3 p.m., Madam Chair, so I can yield my time because other members, dalawang bell na yun, Madam Chair. Baka sabihin nila, ba't si Bambi or si Kong o si DSO, but mas maraming oras sa kanya? It's not fair. Can they just submit by 3 p.m., Madam Chair? I'll be back by 3 p.m. Hopefully, I'll be able to read and ask them questions about what document that they are in possession with as of the moment, Madam Chair. Would that be possible, Madam Chair?
JMC for the, between DepEd, PAGCOR, and DPWH, ma'am, we can send po.
Does that contain the details for requested by DS
Yes,
Emano?
for the infrastructure projects
Yeah,
po.
for
How
PTV, all those I asked earlier, Madam Chair, if possible. Yun na lang, Madam Chair. Ang nahiyan na nga rin ako, Madam Chair. Yan. Ang dami nag-aantay eh. Galit na nga na Chairman Dangerous Drugs eh. Oo.
How about the others po? Kasi do you have joint circulars with the other?
Wala
With other
po.
agencies.
Regarding PTVs po, wala kaming JMCs po eh.
Opo, pwede po kahit, as DS Amanda was saying, kahit hindi po formalized, kahit meron lang po some
See, Madam
semblance.
Chair, Madam Chair, last na lang talaga. This answering, naiipit yung boss niya. Hindi na pa rin sagot eh. Sabi meron, kayo sa kanya wala. So, dito na lang, Madam Chair, para hindi tayo hahaba. Yung hiningi ko, isubmit. Then I end here, Madam Chair. Thank you. So others will be given opportunity to ask.
Sige po. We'll coordinate, DS ComSec, please coordinate with PAGCOR to make sure that the documents requested by DS Emano are furnished by 3 p.m. today. Sir po, one point of clarification lang po that I wanted to highlight and emphasize. Kasi po nabanggit po kanina na we will approve the budget of the PAGCOR. Siguro po, very important point of clarification. We are not here today to approve the budget of PAGCOR kasi hindi po natin sila binibigyan ng resources. Actually, they're here in today's hearing as they are a critical funding source for the expenditures as listed on the NEP. So the government does not subsidize PAGCOR. Very important to highlight. And this briefing is to look into PAGCOR's remittances to the Treasury as reflected in the BESF as a funding source for the National Expenditure Program. So ang pinaka-critical po natin na trabaho ngayong araw ay siguraduhin na sapat po. Una, na ibibigay po ng PAGCOR yung kinakailangan nilang i-remit sa national government. At pangalawa po, makita natin, kasabay po nung mga tinalakay natin sa DBCC noong Lunes, na sapat yung funding sources para po mapondohan yung mga expenditures as listed on the NEP. So, yun na po, wala po tayong aaprobahan ngayong araw
Thank
na
you, Madam
budget
Chair,
ng
and I stand
PAGCOR.
corrected, but I think what I'm asking also is part of our oversight function naman din eh.
We recognize that because on the part,
Yeah.
the Committee on Appropriations is also tasked with making sure that resources are spent accordingly.
Yeah.
The scarce resources that we have.
Yeah, I'll just be back by 3 p.m., Madam Chair, and hopefully the documents will be ready. Again, I thank you and I apologize to some of the members who were waiting, Madam Chair.